Hey Yazzers, Tommy Steenberg here to judge MKYAS 5 Challenge 2 Hoopla. Thank you to all the choreographers for your submissions, thank you Audrey for hosting a 5th year of Yaz, and thank you MK Blades for your support. I'll go ahead and get started with my reviews in the order that I watched them. Kate McCall. I enjoyed your patterns on the ice. The beginning was simple but clean. The forward scratch spins were cool with the hoopla on the skater's legs. There was a bit of a disconnect at about 1:30 with 2 of the skaters waiting on the other 2 to arrive at the end of the ice. When you see these disconnects, it's important to clean them up and push yourself to find new ways to transition between ideas. I think that the 2 standing and waiting perhaps could have been dancing, maybe even together. To disguise that you were trying to get the other 2 to line up with them, perhaps they could have been doing cross rolls or traveling 2-foot spins or something on their way back in order to keep the piece connected. When they skate together at about 1:30 or so, that could have been an opportunity for them to continue utilizing their hoops. However, I like the tableau that you created with the 4 skaters going across the ice a lot. The piece seemed to be building a little, and then I was a bit let down by your ending. I think the idea of having 3 backup dancers with a soloist could have potentially worked. The solos all had creative usage of the hoop, but the background dancing really distracted and took away from the piece for me. I thought it wasn't a good idea to have them doing the same footwork, especially since they were out of sync and had no choreographed arms or body movement for over 40 seconds there. If time was an issue when putting this piece together, I think it would have been better to have had the skaters leave the camera view and take turns coming out to do their solos. You had good use of the ice, though, and some creative usage with the hoops, and I'm going to rate this with 2 stars. Brianna, your skaters were really cute. The program was fun. I could tell that they really enjoyed it, and I thought you incorporated the hoops well. You obviously had the youngest talent for this assignment, which can be a challenge in itself, but you were able to create a lot of good movement vocabulary that will help the kids continue to improve, and that was nice to see. I noticed that you intentionally had the skaters do different moves from time to time, which I think was smart since unison can be hard for kids, and it offered a nice variety too, and chances for them to use the hoops in different ways. There was a music cut at 1:02 that was a little distracting. I didn't take off any points for this. I just want to emphasize that as a choreographer, you don't want your music cuts to interfere with the established rhythm of your programs. In most cases, skaters will hear the music hundreds of times, so as a courtesy to them, and also just to set a good example, it's always worth the few extra minutes to make the cuts flow as smoothly as possible. If someone else is cutting the music for you, be specific with them about what you want and don't hesitate to ask them to do it again because their work reflects directly on you. It would have been nice to see a little more skating going around at 2:15 since there was mostly dancing and not skating. Maybe a solo from the girl in the middle or the 2 girls on the left and right could have come around and skated around the girl in the middle or something like that. I also thought the skaters had their backs turned away from the camera for a little too long in this section. But all in all, really solid work, really fun, and it made me smile when I was watching, and I think you definitely fulfilled the challenge, so I'm giving you 3 stars. Katie Stewart. I love the opening and the music. The movements, the slow movements created anticipation, and I was immediately pulled in. I thought the black and white coloring for the video made sense with your piece, and it was a nice artistic decision. I enjoyed the 2 skaters changing in and out of unison, and this kind of concept, it can be tough to pull off, and I think you did a really nice job with it. The diagonal positioning of the skaters at 1:15 was very effective. I loved the way that you moved the hoop with your skates at 1:25. That was really cool. Great use of edges as the piece continued. I do think in the second half you could have varied the usage of the hoops more. They were pretty much just holding them with 2 hands, but I thought the piece was really well thought out and I enjoyed watching it, and I'm giving you 4 stars. Anna, cute choreography in the opening. The theme was very clear. It was carefree and fun. I liked when all 4 of you linked up in a circle, and then when you guys got down and laid on the ice, it kind of looked like you were having a slumber party. There was a music cut that you had at 37 seconds that was also distracting, again, not taking any points off, and I understand you were intentionally cutting out a word. But it's just really important that your musicality comes across in this sense, because you have great musicality, and I feel like interrupting the rhythm, maybe there was another way you could have cut that word out or used a different verse, because it leaves an inaccurate impression of your musical awareness, which is obviously great judging by your choreography. I thought this piece was a really good example of a really strong ending that capitalizes on the entire piece and leaves you feeling that you got the message. It was definitely a standout moment when you were dancing and completely letting loose in the middle. I think it'd be really funny if we made a GIF of that dance at the end, just had it looping. So yeah, I thought that was a really fun way to wrap up the program, and I'm giving you 3.5 stars. Sarah, I really enjoyed this piece. It seemed to be like a little kid left out at the playground kind of theme, which I thought was really creative. I hadn't heard this song before, and I loved it, partially because it's a great song, and partially because of the really cool movement phrase that you created with it, so thank you for that. I'm really impressed at how well the movements of the skaters complemented each other in the opening. I thought it was very effective. At 41 seconds, I would have loved to see the two outside skaters perhaps doing the movement that you were doing in the center, but moving while you remain stationary. When you repeat a movement theme, you want to find little ways to vary it just to keep it fresh throughout. Again, I love the movement, so I'd love to see it performed at maybe different speeds, like half time, twice as fast, from different angles, skating, standing still, different formations with the skaters. You could have had the skaters rotating during different steps, like when you kick the leg back and throw the one arm up. Maybe one of the times that could have been done while they were like turning in a circle while doing it. I think you get the point. And the group choreo from like 440 to 450 especially could have been done while gliding, I thought. I loved the little girl sitting in the hoops, and I thought it was risky on your part to have her sitting there for so long, but I think it was genius, and it added so much to your piece. I really wanted her to break out at the end and outshine the rest of you. I love the casual feel that you all brought to the movement, but from her in particular, I kind of want a more aggressive energy, because after having her sit there for so long, building up the courage to get up and join you, I think that was a major turning point in the piece that didn't fully come across the way I was hoping in the end. I was hoping she'd stand up with like determination and dance the heck out of the choreography there. She also could have been more resistant to you shutting her down after she finally broke out of her shell at the end. There were parts of the piece that I definitely would want to show other people because I felt inspired by them, but there were also a few disconnects. Every time you guys stood waiting for that movement phrase to start, it was like you were ahead of the music and kind of waiting for it to come. Perhaps you could have at least done some kind of like marching in place there or something just to keep it flowing. One last thing is that your skaters go off the camera view a little too much. It seems that you had that full circle on the ice within the camera view, so perhaps they could have skated slower with deeper edges, or you can get everyone to stay in the circle, or you can just pull the camera back so that you have more room to skate. Regardless, all four of you need to know the exact camera boundaries and stay within them. I'm going to give this piece 4 stars. I kept coming back to this piece in my head after watching it, so I think it has the potential to eventually be a 5 if you continue to do more work on it. Therefore, I'm going to encourage you to please spend more time on this piece with your skaters and reshoot it. I think it would be a really solid addition to your choreographic portfolio, and I would love to see it again. So skaters, support your choreographer. This is a great opportunity for you too. Heidi. I thought this was a pretty piece. A standout moment for me was at 125 with the 2 laybacks and the 2 girls swinging the hoops at a standstill. I also loved when he linked up at 156 for the Choctaws. I would have loved for the 4 of you to have remained linked together, holding onto each other's hoops for like an entire length of the ice, perhaps like weaving in and out of each other. It looked like you kind of started this idea with the Choctaw and then moved on to another idea more quickly than I would have liked. If you had remained together for longer, the ending patterns where everyone broke out from each other, I think would have had more impact. The music was soft, but it had some underlying strength that continued to build. I think you related to this by having the skaters skate with greater speed across the ice as the piece continued, but the skaters could have maybe embodied this more within their actual body movements. I think the piece could have used a little more of a play on contrasting dynamics, and then it would have had a little bit more of an impact. I'm going to give this piece 3.5 stars. Maro, there was a very clear theme and purpose for this program. It was extremely entertaining and memorable, and I'm really impressed by your attention to detail, from the girls warming up in the background while you're talking, the intros, the title Yazzercise, the choreography, the videography, facial expressions, everything was really well thought out. It was very musical. There was a good amount of movement vocabulary. Every step made sense and was performed in a really convincing manner. Your skaters very clearly supported your vision 100%, and it seems that your passion's infectious. There's a really important it's a really important quality to have as a choreographer, because having that passion can create a really productive environment and an intangible energy within the work itself. And I'm not even going to ask how the three of you got the hoops to land in your hands at the same time at the end of the piece, but I thought that was also a perfect ending. This piece was edgy, and I appreciated that you were willing to put this out there and take that risk. So I'm giving you 5 stars. Allison, there was a unison problem in this piece. It looked like you guys just need a bit more time to practice, perhaps. I like the double toe with the hoop. I wish that the layback and the flying camel were a bit closer together, but they complemented each other nicely. I think the strongest moments in this piece were when you were intentionally not in unison. There were moments when you guys would get a little too far away from each other and it was harder to follow, and I didn't get a strong idea of what the intent or purpose behind this piece was, but I would have really liked to know because there were some nice moments, and I'm going to give you 2 stars. So I think that is everyone, and I really enjoyed watching everyone's work this week, so I look forward to seeing what else you guys have to show us in the weeks to come. So best of luck, and thank you.